Lastly, sir, we have an executive order ordering the declassification of files relating to the assassinations of President John F. Kennedy, Senator Robert F. Kennedy, and the Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.
That's a big one, huh? A lot of people are waiting for this for years, for decades. And everything will be revealed. Okay? Give that to RFK Jr.
Yes, sir.
Okay?
How do you like that? Give that to RFK Jr. The pen.
It's better than giving it to Jack Schlossberg. His, I guess what does that make Schlossberg? His cousin or something? Schlossberg is the daughter of the son of Caroline Kennedy, and Schlossberg, who is the grandson of JFK. I don't know. His great uncle would be RFK. His great uncle would be RFK Sr.
Right. So he's like a second cousin, or once removed, or I can't keep up with it. It's like
maybe people in the chat might know what the relationship is. People have these long families. If the two brothers have two sons, or a son and a daughter in this case, what is the relationship of RFK Jr. to Jack Schlossberg?
Dan K says first cousin once removed.
Okay, well, we'll go with that, and you guys can fight it out. Hold on.
Second cousin.
Oh, already there's trouble. It's confusing, bro.
It is confusing when you're looking at that, because it's like I've seen like nephew removed, second cousin.
What does removed mean? I never even understood
what a generational skip.
So generational skip. So Bobby the Third, who is RFK Jr.'s son, would be the equivalent of this guy.
Right, they're equal on the.
They would be equal generationally,
right?
And also son of the brother of the son, and then, well, daughter, then son. Interesting. Okay,
and I get confused, and I don't even know it. With the DNA, they kind of, you can look at it and like second cousin and then first cousin once removed. It's like the same amount of relationship. It's just different direction.
Right. Well, nobody. This is not stepsons or anything. These are real. Blood.
No.
These are all blood.
What I'm saying is there's this equal amount of DNA. But it's just different ways to get there. It's kind of a line.
Right. I mean, Caroline Kennedy, who the last time I looked was the ambassador to Japan, I believe, under Biden. I don't know what happened to her after that. Clearly not a friend of the president, this president. But Schlossberg, who I didn't know this, apparently some media darling on Instagram, has a lot of female followers, doesn't have a job that I know of. He's merely like...
so he's an influencer.
He's an influencer. That's the word. I'm sorry. I was looking for the influencer. Has to come out and attack Trump for releasing the JFK files. This is a new low in the Trump derangement syndrome, Hunley.
So, he released some, Mark. Have you got him yet?
Yeah, I got him this week, and I haven't opened it up. It's kind of like the letter that Trump got that Peter Doocy said, "Look in the desk."
Oh,
do you know what he did with that letter, by the way?
I've seen the contents of it, but what did he do with it?
He gave it to Peter Doocy. He told Hannity in the interview. Hannity said, "What happened to the letter?" He goes, "I gave it to Peter Doocy."
Oh, that's class.
Yeah, he did. And I didn't know that. He said it off the cuff in the Hannity interview. He said, "I gave it to Peter."
Wow, it was actually a nice letter.
I didn't read the contents. I didn't hear about it.
When I get to it, it essentially it's just this is a great job, a big job. God be with you doing it. You kind of we'll look at it later.
Well, it's
usually
nice
message.
They're usually the same tone.
Yeah.
I mean, the Bush Obama one was weird. It just said, "Go fuck yourself." That was kind of harsh. But I got Hunley to laugh. Telephone call. All right, let's get into the nuance of this JFK release before people drive me fucking insane.
You mean people have told you on Twitter?
Not only that, I mean, everybody's had to come out from Vince to Max to Jeff Morley to explain this to people and to explain the downside of it. The upside is obvious, him signing a presidential executive order. Let me take it back to 2000. Let me take you all the way back to the JFK Records Act to explain this. The JFK Records Act in 1992 was a spinoff of directly related to JFK the film. That created the JFK Records Act in 1992, which mandated the release of records by all departments in the United States government to be funneled to an assassinations record review board, which was a short-lived couple of years to funnel all these records through. In 2023 is probably August is the last records I remember reading. And ironically, which I posted this morning on Twitter, that last release, which is a PDF, and I put it on Locals page, of the CIA censoring the autobiography of E. Howard Hunt, Eric. And the details, and it goes into the details of, it says page 39, it says the following: this should be blocked because of A, B, and C. And it's kind of interesting. It's about 20 pages long. However, that being said, it is the last release of any JFK records up until today, and nothing happened today. Okay, so just to take people through this, in October in 2017, I'm just trying to remember this off the top of my head, the Records Act expired, and it was up to the president to deal with what was left. Okay, so Mike Pompeo came to Trump and said, oh, this looks bad. And he showed Trump whatever the hell looked bad, and Trump put the kibosh on release of all of the records. However, thousands of records continued to come out in 2017, 2018, 2019, 2020, up until the record that I just discussed with you with E. Howard Hunt, 2023, August. So there was no releases in 2024, ironically. This is on you could go to the National Archives website to follow this, and the website has all the files. It also has the assassination records review board, and also has the House Assassination Committee files. It's a great website. I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, I was going to say, I remember us covering this last year, that Biden essentially said, yeah, you know what, I'm not going to release them, and we're done releasing them anyway. And he kind of just shut down the whole program. Remember we talked about that? And it's like,
yeah, that was the last release, was August of 2023. And you could look at the Hunt episode if you want to follow along. It's a multi-part episode on E. Howard Hunt. Ironically, the last document released was the PDF from the CIA of censoring his book, and certain things inside that they didn't like. Now, every CIA author has to go through that, so it's not unusual, unless you're Amaryllis Fox, and then the fox is in the hen house, and you don't have to have your book censored by the CIA. You can write whatever you want. That being said, the situation that Trump created is not a release of the records. It is a designation of having a period of, in this JFK case, 15 days until the head of DNI puts together a plan to go to Trump to release the records from DNI overlooking the CIA, ONI, and other agencies. In other words, it's 15 days to come up with a plan, to have a plan, to plan the release of the records that they don't even have yet.
It's worse than that. Tulsi Gabbard is supposed to be the DNI.
Let me finish.
No.
Let me finish, Hunley. I'm not done.
All right.
The woman who is in charge, and this is where I was going, is a woman named Stacey Dixon. She is the head of this thing, and she's not leaving anytime soon. So Stacey Dixon, if this plan is carried out as per Trump's order, this is a crazy, crazy black woman, this Stacey Dixon. I don't know if you have a picture of her or you want to take a look at her on Wikipedia. She's a former CIA operative. She's an engineer. She is woke as fuck. She was preceded by Avril Haines. She's supposedly going to be succeeded, as Eric is saying, by Tulsi Gabbard. But even that nomination is shaky right now because Tulsi Gabbard is not fighting for herself, and she may not even have the votes. That may be months and months away, just the Tulsi Gabbard nomination being successful, and the hearings for Tulsi Gabbard. That might be a month away. That being said, Stacey Dixon, this woman here that Eric is going to put up, is the one who Trump either mistakenly or intentionally has tasked with the job of coming up with a plan in 15 days for the release of all the records on the JFK assassination. Okay, is that what you want? Is that what the American people want? This woman right here is going to say, nah, not this one. I don't know. There's a plan. I'm going to put a plan together. And she's going to present that to Trump in 15 days. That's where we are to explain the details of what Trump did. Okay, I'm not done yet because the Justice Department is mentioned in the presidential order as well. Now, the Justice Department, let me just tell you this, the Justice Department is mentioned, and that's really important for two reasons. I'm more excited about the Justice Department thing because the Justice Department is not sitting on JFK files, Eric. The Justice Department is sitting on secret files of MLK and RFK's assassination. That's new. There's no presidential order. There's no presidential precedent for this. This is completely separate, but within the same executive order that Trump signed. This is completely different. This is a brand new thing. That can be done in well, that's got 45 days, but nevertheless, it's also a plan to have a plan to release a plan based on a plan of a future plan. So Trump in 45 days is going to get a plan from Pam Bondi on what's in there in the MLK files, and there's quite a bit in there regarding the FBI. The MLK files will directly be related to FBI and J. Edgar Hoover involvement. This is my opinion on the assassination of MLK. The same will be true, in my humble opinion, about the RFK assassination and J. Edgar Hoover's involvement in that. Hoover, based on LBJ's orders, assigned something like 25 agents to shadow him all across the country. This was going on for a year and a half, 2 years, going all the way back to 1964 to the convention in New Jersey, Democratic convention, that is, where he was upstaged, LBJ, by RFK. That being said, that is an important separate distinction of the Trump presidential order. I'm very excited about the RFK stuff because that's relatively untouched, unscathed, and unknown. The MLK one is also similar and will have FBI fingerprints upon it. Now, what's his face can help, Kash Patel, also with the FBI, but that's going to be coordinated with Pam Bondi, who is essentially his boss, if I'm correct, right?
Well, also the Justice Department, there's important things in there, like was it the DD 214? Not T. Well, investigations. Like what was investigated, who was talked to, witness reports. There's got to be so much.
That
can now roll out.
To come from FBI through Justice in 45 days. Again, no files will be released for months. I need to repeat this. This may take over a year of this thing happening. Nothing is happening for months. In 45 days, which is a month and a half, they'll send a plan to Trump. Now, Trump can sit on that for 3 years, for all I know. He could sit on it for 3 weeks. He has the ultimate power to do any of this stuff. But the way he signed it, it looks like what's-her-face is just going to drag her heels over at DNI. She's not going to do anything at all because her days are numbered. Why is she going to get off her fat ass and do anything? She's about to get fired. So, I mean, I don't expect her to come up with any plan other than nice knowing you, here's my resume. That being said, it's still very exciting, the entire thing. I hope people understand what I just said.
Sure. Well, Nick has a point here. He said, watch the first JFK file released by Trump say it was Dorothy Kilgallen in the grassy knoll. Sorry.
Well, thanks for the money. Again, there's people putting stuff up on Twitter thinking that there's going to be an answer to anything. The bulk of these files are out. The last ones, and I'll repeat this again for the 9 millionth time, that's just my opinion. I believe, and somebody hinted at this the other day, that this is about international involvement in the assassination. I don't mean that they were involved in killing him. I mean international involvement having some tangential connection to people involved. In other words, Mexico being a base of operation for the chicanery to frame Oswald in Mexico City. The use of Mexico City intelligence operatives to torture Sylvia Duran in a base with Sylvia Duran, again, famously being the secretary who supposedly met Oswald at the Cuban embassy in Mexico City. We ordered her torture by Mexico City officials. That can be extremely embarrassing to a foreign government. I believe that's what's down there. It's stuff like that. There's not going to be anything of the actual details of the assassination, but I think the framing of Oswald will be stronger after we see the documentation that's in there. Because, if you go into September of 1963 and you see what was going on in Mexico City with the phony photographs and the phony tapes being sent to J. Edgar Hoover in Washington, and J. Edgar Hoover famously telling LBJ the day after the assassination that these are phony photos and phony audio tapes, you begin to see, and that's from September of 63, you begin to immediately see the framing of Oswald in September of 1963. So that blows the assassination to smithereens just by itself. If there's anything more down there regarding that, that would be a lot of fun. But nevertheless, I think it's about international tangential involvement in the assassination.
Can I point out some things to folks too? One, if you see documents being shared saying just released, either it's a document that's been out for a while that they're just cycling back up, or it's a fake, and just be cautious. These documents are not coming out for a while.
It's going to be a long time.
It'll be a while. And by the way, the driver didn't shoot him, folks. I know that.
Why do you bother, Hunley?
Well, I mean, it's like, oh my God, it's so much noise.
Don't get worked up over that. We got
MLS. One of lawyers I have on Fridays quite often said, "Do you guys see any legal ability, such as a lawsuit or any other legal maneuver, to get access to documents?"
No, this is it. The president has ultimate power.
Yeah.
You don't have to sue anybody. In fact, there's lawsuits by the Mary Farrell Foundation over Biden's, like Eric mentioned, there was a lawsuit that we learned about at the Dallas convention by members of I think the Mary Farrell board and also the convention board itself, suing the Biden administration. That went nowhere. I don't know what happened to that. That's kind of a moot point now with the executive order, I believe. I think that might be moot because he's ordered the release, which ended in October 2017. So it would have to be a lawsuit from 2017 to have any relevance, which there was. But still documents were released between 2017 and 2024, August of 23, and quite a few. I mean, if you haven't read those, stop barking about the ones you don't even have. I haven't gotten through the ones that were released yet.
Well,
it's kind of amazing. They've released just in the last 5 years 10,000 or maybe 7,000 documents that people haven't even finished reading yet, but they're belly aching about more documents.
Hey, well, this I think would be super helpful too. Someone I'm working with on building a tool for Layback News, Encryptus, is currently scraping the entire archive that's out there right now for AI.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
To have a fully searchable system. And that'll be helpful. Now, there's still going to be issues like a lot of the documents, as you know, are not readable. It's very difficult. They have to be manually looked at. The PDFs aren't always OCR ready, things of that sort.
Yeah, there's also handwritten documents. I mean, the last one released was handwritten. I mean, there's stuff you have to look at with a microscope sometimes, based on people's ability to write, physically write. Some of them are quite illegible. And then they make copies of copies on purpose to diminish the clarity of a copy. That's an old trick.
Oh, yeah. Craig Zospot said the sub should finally go up after all these JFK documents get released and dissected. Yeah,
Highly doubtful.
and this is a valid one here. Somebody saying, Mark, please tell the world who Gerald Posner is and why NBC had him on so quickly on yesterday's show. I thought this was case
I wanted to
closed.
address that because Greg Kelly was on last night, and Greg Kelly said that he knew everything about. He's been studying. This is Greg Kelly. Greg Kelly says he's been studying the JFK assassination since he was 7 years old, and only until 3.5 years ago did he realize he was completely wrong, just like Tucker, and that there was a conspiracy to kill Kennedy. That being said, that kind of makes him like the lowest level of conspiracy analyst that could possibly be, because he just got here 5 minutes ago. In terms of stuff that we've been studying, I've been studying, and others have been studying since we were 13, reading Rush to Judgment when it came out. So I don't really begrudge Greg Kelly for, it's like what Eric says, better late than never. And he, of course, everything he says is wrong, and it's not intentional. He's just not anywhere near the level of other people in terms of understanding the assassination. I wouldn't expect it to be. I mean, people like myself and my friends have been studying it for 50 years, inch by inch. People like Jim DiEugenio and Rex Bradford and Dick Russell and some of and even Jeff Morley, who came from the Washington Post and is a little deep state, a little bit too deep state for me, but nevertheless, all of us together know all these little things about the assassination. So Greg Kelly says all this stuff, and he brings on Gerald Posner, and he says, after everything he just said, he says, this is one of the best books on the assassination, puts up the book, and brings on Posner as a guest. And I couldn't believe what I was watching last night.
Thank God Bugliosi's already dead.
I know.
I already have him on too.
I almost lost my shit last night going, after everything you just said, schmuck, how could you bring on the Antichrist of the assassination, one of the deepest of the deep state, case closed, and the equivalent of Vincent Bugliosi, but nevertheless still alive and still kicking his Oswald Lone Nut narrative. So they're not, the point of the matter, what I was getting to with this long thing is, they're not done, the deep state. They're going to fight to the living death to keep these documents from seeing the light of day. They are not going to roll over simply because Trump signed an executive order to do this. They're going to fight every single inch. Somebody put up the bat signal last night to get Posner on NBC and Newsmax across the board, left and right, to fight back and to keep the narrative and to keep hope alive.
Wow. And by the way, a lot of folks may not realize that Gerald Posner has an issue with plagiarism too.
That's the least of his problems, but you're right.
Well,
you're
hey, I mean,
you're correct. You're correct.
If you're going to have a hack, I mean,
right.
He doesn't like to write his own material. He gets the CIA talking points and writes.
Right. He gets Grok to write the books, but nevertheless, Kelly not the leading expert in the entire matter, but each of them had a different version of this. They Rob Schmidt had on Mike Benz, and I went, oh, this is great. And Mike Benz comes on, and says essentially what I just said about this order and how it's not what you think it is. So he keeps interrupting him because he doesn't care about that, the producers of the show. What they care about is what is going to be, in your humble opinion, found at the bottom of the barrel. And here is Mike Benz doing his best to explain what I just said about the head of a DNI, that you don't want this woman to come up with a plan. And they want you to say what they want you to say for their segments. It's ridiculous. Ridiculous.
Yeah, well, you're a placeholder. It's like, okay, here's our message. You just parrot it.
Right. And Benz, to his credit, did not do that. He didn't dance to their puppet.
It's so frustrating because it's like, supposedly they're about the truth, Mark. We want to get to the truth, but I don't like that truth. How about this truth?
Well, I mean, look, both of them were correct. I mean, he was saying what's at the bottom. I mean, like Mike Benz would know what's down there. Again, it's like, seeing a magic act and then asking the magician, how do you do the act? I just paid you $8 to come in and see the show. I think you should tell me how you did the magic trick. which doesn't happen. I mean, he's asking Mike Benz to explain what's at the bottom of the files. How the hell does Mike Benz know what's down there?
Oh yeah, 100%. Speaking of changes being made and whatnot, I figure we can move on to the rest of the news. Or
Yeah,
should
I just
more-
wanted to address that for the
for
people
sure.
because it's recent news, but sure.
Oh well, we have to. I mean,
Yeah.
we do have a bit of an audience.
Isn't it? I'll just say this: isn't it weird how the Trump audience and the JFK thing has now collided into our show? Like the two main things that we cover have now funneled into one giant mass. It's really interesting how these two seemingly separate worlds are now colliding.
Yeah, 100%. And as Nick Yosti said, thanks for all the JFK content. I'm almost through my second viewing of your JFK playlist, and just amazing. Well done.
Well, the playlist is not going to end, Nick, because you spent $10. We're going to force you to watch additional shows. On Monday, we've got Tuesday, rather, we have a huge show on Marina Oswald that was planned a while back, which is going to be really earth-shattering information about Marina Oswald that no one's ever heard before, as per the usual for this show. We don't have the ability to do them every week. Because we don't have the research staff or anything. It's just me and my underwear. But nevertheless, on Tuesday, we will have a Marina Oswald episode about some stuff you've never heard before. Let me just put it that way.
It's fantastic. Okay, so moving on. While we're talking about changing records, things like this, I sent this to you a couple days ago. Boom. Would you look at this? This is the ATF website.
That's it. Brilliant.
You have Linda here. It was the Chief Diversity Officer, Office of the Director. That was the 20th, literally on the 20th. So inauguration day, that was the website. What happened? The 22nd. Oh, she got a new job. Senior Executive, Office of the Director. The hell is that?
Well, they are onto them. Somebody caught this, and they're going to go through every single website now and do the same thing. These people are insufferable. They deserve the worst that ever happens to anybody. And by the way, I mentioned Brendan Carr, the FCC. He has revised the dismissal of the complaints against CBS, NBC, and ABC that were dismissed by his Democratic predecessor at the end of his run. Now, to his credit, Brendan Carr has revived all three complaints against the three major networks, separate complaints. CBS involves 60 Minutes. And by the way, God bless the end and the death of Norah O'Donnell, got fired finally by CBS News today. Long live Norah O'Donnell. Ding dong, the queen is dead.
Hey, Jim Acosta's on at midnight now.
Jim Acosta's on at midnight.
Wolf Blitzer got shoved to
he's doing
early
a morning show, but there's going to be more. 200 CNN people were fired yesterday. This is just the beginning. I'm still not buckling on Colbert and the other two late night hosts. I think their days are numbered.
Now Colbert's even starting to say it. I might not be here.
Yeah. No, they're going.
This is the way I look at it. When does their contract end? Because I think they're just going to bother not renewing the contract.
Some of them, I think one or two of them may get shit canned before the end of the contract, or they'll just wait out the contracts for all three. Yeah, I don't know I don't know the answer to that. But Rubio has now suspended passports that don't have male or female on them. Not only did they create this new rule, he also suspended the passports that were already in existence that have multi-gender crazy crap on them.
Good.
So you may be stuck in Lisbon in a tranny storytelling hour at a public library in Lisbon, and you can't get back to Brooklyn. Now what?
Hate it when that happens. Just hate it when that happens. Well, and on that note, CNN boss Mark Thompson told Jake Tapper, Anderson Cooper, 100 other journalists to not express outrage during the Trump inauguration.
Well, I don't know if they followed that directive completely, but nevertheless, it seemed that there was less.
Oh, well, there's been a lot less. They definitely, they've been far better behavior than they have. And by the way, the changing of the website, for those who are like, oh, that's not true, that's not true. CNN themselves were reporting that that was happening, and they were saying that they were scrambling to do it ahead of time, and they were, reporting as a heroic gesture to
Yeah, they're in
protect
the
it.
underground. No, I'm telling you, it's
Right.
like they look at it like hiding Anne Frank from the Nazis. That's how they look at this thing. By the way, CIA Chief John Ratcliffe got nominated, or passed his thing
Confirmed.
yesterday, and it confirmed. And he said the first thing I didn't know this was coming, but he said the first thing he's interested in dealing with at all is the origins of COVID. I
Fine by
didn't.
me.
Did you see that coming? I didn't see that coming.
I did not, but that's great, and you
I
can
know.
always subpoena somebody about that.
Well, he's
It's
getting to the
available now.
bottom. He said the CIA wrote a report that they never released, and he's going to get into that and release that and some other stuff. But bravo to John Ratcliffe, who currently reports to this chick, Stacey Dixon, by the way. It's actually a step down for Ratcliffe, who used to be DNI chief. Right? Because
Yeah.
the DNI chief is over the CIA chief now.
Yeah, I don't know what her, I do wonder on that if Trump should have just said when the actual DNI, which
Yeah.
was Tulsi,
Yep.
comes into office.
Yeah.
It was her deadline, because you don't want this. I agree with you
No,
about
that's
that.
why I went into such detail about it to explain
Yeah.
it, because that's what I feel about it, and nobody's looking at the machinery of this goddamn thing. All right, what else you got there, Hunley? Because I got the rest of the same thing you could do.
Well, we got
It's Hunley's
Enrique
choice.
Tarrio.
This was great. This is what I like about Kelly. He was the only guy to put Tarrio on for years, that he's been on this case about Tarrio. Now, I want to explain this thing about Tarrio, the head of the Proud Boys, who is Hispanic and not a white supremacist or whatever. There is a thing that is done, and he is hip to this, because his father, I'm talking about Kelly's father, was the police commissioner in New York, the longest running Raymond Kelly. And he understands prisons. He understands the prison system, Kelly, the kid and the father. What they did with Enrique Tarrio is considered torture in every single country in the world. It's considered torture in the International Court in The Hague. It's considered torture here. He was forced to wear what are known as box cuffs every time he was transferred or moved around in an attempt to, what they do is torture you by shuttle. It's a prison shuttle torture. Tarrio was a victim of 40 different prisons that he had to spend time in. This is what he had to wear when being transferred 40 times to 40 different prisons, so your family doesn't know where you are, so you never get comfortable in any space. There's no reasons for the transfer other than to torture you. This has been done in U.S. penal system for years. Barnes is well aware of this. This device is also considered torture. This was used on him 40 times just for the transfers. He was given a bottle in the back of a van to urinate in this setup that he's got there. This is how he had to roll. They don't tell you where they're taking you, nor do they tell your attorney or your relatives where
They also
you're
don't
going.
drive very nicely either, and you might
Well,
get
I'm saying
bumped around a little bit.
I don't know about that, but the point of the matter is you're taking from one prison to another intentionally, so your family, friends, and news media and your own attorneys don't know where you are, and it's also to disrupt your life, which they did. He took it really well, but he expressed and explained the system that
Enrique Tarrio is back.
Go ahead.
Sorry.
No, if you want to roll a clip a little bit, go ahead.
No, I'm going to. I didn't mean to start it though.
Yeah, no, I didn't know that they were doing that to him. I mean, it's quite barbaric. It's not just the J6 incarceration. It's the level of beatings. It's the level of torture. And it makes you possibly long for private prisons that could be run privately and not by these barbarians via government contracts,
All right, Q. I was just explaining, because I heard this actually from your mom, that there are Black Proud Boys who are not white supremacists, Asian Proud Boys who are not white supremacists, gay Proud Boys who are not white supremacists. Anyway, Enrique, what's the first thing you did when you got home?
Well, as you saw, I hugged my mom and my fiance on the way out of the plane. You asked what I did when I get home. I did it again, Greg. It's been an amazing day. I don't know where I got cut off last time, but it's not just an amazing day for me. It's an amazing day for many, many families. About 1,500 families got their life back today. And my 4 guys, Joe Biggs, Ethan Nordine, Dominic Pizzola, and Zachary Rell, they got to see, some of them got to see their daughters for the first time. So I'm very excited about that. And we just knew, we knew that we had a president that his motto is promises made, promises kept. And we couldn't be happier with the president of the United States, not just for this, but for everything that's going to happen in these next 4 years. We already see that he means business from day one. But it was amazing that he brought so many families together. I think no other president.
Okay, you're right. I mean, you know, he goes on about the fact that he was sentenced to 20 to 30 years for insurrection. He was never in D.C. He wrote an email that was ridiculous. They said the email indicated he was the mastermind behind the insurrection. All made up, all completely made up. He had nothing to do with any of that stuff and was sentenced to over 20 years in prison.
All right. And our friend Viva, David, Viva Fry, was at a news conference with him in Florida today.
Oh.
Here's a clip.
Does this now prove that President Trump is absolutely honorable and righteous because he kept his word, and that a great brother like you now, does that prove that to you?
Not only does it prove it to me, the president has proven that he stands with all Americans, regardless of your political background, how you identify, and all the cringe, like, focused on race, religion, LGBTQ. We don't care. I hate answering questions about race.
I wanted to share that because I thought it was cool. It shows you a little bit of who he is. And the guy essentially asked, saying, hey, did this prove that, you know, Trump is looking out for the black man? It was kind of the theme of it. And, you know, his answer is no, he's looking out for all Americans. I don't even like answering that because of blah, blah, blah. And I just thought that was worth sharing as well.
Yeah, he's a righteous dude, bro. But I mean, the amount of ferocity they put into his sentencing indicates how terrified they are of the breakdown of their racial division scheme. By him being not a white male supremacist, he is a threat to their entire scheme.
It's always been a problem because Gavin McInnes is who started Proud Boys, and it's easy to paint the picture of Gavin McInnes with his tattoos, and he's a white guy with a beard. No, he's a white supremacist, but it's like, well, wait a minute, the guy who's leading the Proud Boys, how is he? He's not even white. How is this a white supremacist organization?
What about Larry Elder, the blackface
of
white supremacy? They didn't even give a shit that he was a black guy. They went that far with this crazy. All of these crazy theories are falling apart now so quickly, and it's so wonderful to watch them collapse. You know, the DEI stuff that Trump is routing out throughout the country, it quickly is collapsing because it was a house of cards, Eric. It was a house of cards.
Thank God. I mean, it definitely is now. Another, big deal pardon that took place. Now, this one, I was surprised that it was a full pardon. It actually happened while we were on the air last. But Ross Ulbricht, he wasn't just commuted. I know Trump had promised to commute his sentence, but Trump gave him a full-blown pardon. And he is out. Completely walking
It's
around.
amazing. It's amazing. Well, it shows you two things. Well, it shows you about this guy, but also shows you the power of the presidency, how it is life-changing and life-altering if used correctly. Obviously, it could be used life-ending, which we've seen with wars and drone killings by Obama, for instance, of American citizens. But it can be life-affirming, like Trump has been using it for.
100%. Okay, now, back to it. I've come up to the story I had with the letter. The full contents of the letter have been revealed. And here's the letter. Dear President Trump, as I take leave of this sacred office, I wish you and your family all the best in the next 4 years. The American people and people around the world look to this house for steadiness in the inevitable storms of history. And my prayer is that in the coming years will be a time of prosperity, peace, and grace for our nation. May God bless you and guide you as he has blessed and guided our beloved country since our founding. And signed Biden. So, I mean, it's a nice
It's
letter.
signed Biden, just the word Biden?
No, it's signed, Joe
No,
Biden,
I'm
120.
kidding. I'm kidding. That would be great. It just said Biden.
Biden out.
It's a stamp, like it's a rubber stamp. Joe Biden, rubber stamp.
Did I tell you about that? I had a teacher growing up when you say the stamp.
Yeah.
And every year for the yearbooks in high school, it was such a big deal to get everybody to sign your yearbook because, these relationships are so important to you that you, of course, forget 2 years later who everybody was.
Right.
But this one teacher, his name was Pete Seidel, had a stamp made. And it literally said, "You are a close and personal friend.
No.
Best of luck in the future.
Great.
P.
That's
period
insane.
Seidel." And everybody lined up to get the Seidel stamp.
The Seidel stamp of approval. That's
Yes.
genius.
That guy was funny.
Well, you know who's looking for the Seidel stamp of approval?
Who's that?
Gavin Newsom, who's waiting at the tarmac for his leader to show up, who he hasn't spoken to in 4 years. According to sources, Trump has not spoken to Newsom, and Newsom is trying to get onto the tarmac to await Air Force One to get into the world of the president, who's coming from North Carolina right now.
Yeah.
This is going to be a little bit awkward. Here
Good
he
luck.
is. This is outside of a schoolhouse somewhere in Malibu. He's waiting patiently there for the president, trying to find where he's going. Now, that being said, and you remember the episode in the show where I said Trump will go to the disaster area as soon as he becomes president, and he is en route right now to the Pacific Palisades. I was referring to California.
He invited Schiff.
Okay, we don't know. That seems to be controversial because he said this morning, Schiff said he was coming. And he looked like he was beaten in the face with a baseball bat. This is Trump's actual quote. He said, "Did you get a look at Schiff? It looks like somebody hit him in the face." I don't even know what he's talking about.
No, I think there was some bruise.
He said,
or
"I
something.
don't know where Schiff is." He said, "But he looks like he was beaten with a baseball bat." If anybody heard that, please post something online because I don't know what that's in reference to. But Schiff is not coming. And he says he's got to stay behind for the vote or something. But
because of Hegseth.
For the Hegseth vote, right. That being said, Newsom is waiting for Trump, but Trump is not waiting for Newsom. Trump has come up with a 2-part proposal for Newsom to get any federal money. And number one is to turn on the spigot of water from Northern California into Southern California. Now, this is important because Newsom denies that there's a spigot. And he doesn't know how to interpret Trump speak, so he's just going crazy, Newsom. Maybe you could play this.
To Los Angeles because of its sanctuary city policy?
I want to see 2 things in Los Angeles: voter ID, so that the people have a chance to vote, and I want to see the water be released and come down into Los Angeles and throughout the state. Those are the 2 things. After that, I will be the greatest president that California has ever seen.
Right on.
I want the water to come down to Los Angeles, and also go out to all the farmland that's barren and dry. You know, they have land that they say is the equivalent of the land in Iowa, which is about as good as there is anywhere on earth. The problem is it's artificial because they artificially stop the water from going onto the land. So I want 2 things. I want voter ID for the people of California, and they all want it. Right now, you don't have voter ID. People want to have voter identification. You want to have proof of citizenship. Ideally, you have one-day voting, but I just want voter ID as a start, and I want the water to be released, and they're going to get a lot of help from the U.S. Thank you very much.
Yeah,
I'll see you in a month.
he's not challenging the real problem, which is the length of the vote, but he said he'll get to that. But I don't know what Newsom's going to do about this other than shoot himself in the head, because if changing the law to having voter ID, which they just got rid of, making it a crime to ask for voter ID to get federal funding, he is going to go berserk, Newsom, once he hears this. I'm telling you, this thing is such a trigger for Newsom. He is going to go batshit crazy, Eric.
No, I love it. Well, and I mean, I can see where that might be controversial in
You
some
think?
quarters, but I think that I love the idea of putting conditions on
Yeah.
it, especially the water. It's like, hold on, if we're paying to cover your F up, how do we know it's not going to happen tomorrow? I love that. That there should be conditions. Like you've got to let the water go. You need
the water distribution is a little bit more complicated than Trump is describing.
Sure.
I'll tell you that right now. It's not a spigot. So he just is going berserk. And this is Trump speak, how Trump gets under people's skin on purpose to make a deal. He's trying to say that Northern California controls the water for Southern California, which is true. And there's all kinds of details to explain that. And I'll just go into it. I'm wearing the ceremonial LA Fire Department hat to stand with them on the front lines and show some support here. These fires are just spreading out of control. They've gone down to San Diego County now. They're down in Laguna Hills. They're down out in Ontario and Riverside County. They're up by northern Malibu, and they continue to spread. And one of the reasons they continue to spread was the lack of preparation by the current administration. And if you go back and talk to the Schwarzenegger people, you can go back further, but if you talk to the Schwarzenegger people, they will tell you the difference between this administration and the Newsom Bass administration in terms of LA City and California preparation. What they had under Schwarzenegger was the C-140 transport planes already in the air loaded with water and gel. They also positioned fire trucks all around the state in Malibu and Pacific Palisades, pre-staged to be ready so they couldn't be blocked by tiny roads.
Like
again,
DeSantis did for Hurricane Trip.
Okay, but I'm just talking about physically right here, the difference of right here of what happened and why this became a debacle. What Schwarzenegger, and not Schwarzenegger, every governor and mayor have done this. You just have to go back as far as Schwarzenegger to get the details. And the details are what I just described. They would pre-position, and every governor has done this in Southern California fires, and the city has done this. They have over 100 fire trucks in the shop unrepaired that the $27 million budget cut was designed to fix the fire trucks. And the reason they don't want to fix the fire trucks is because of the City of Courts book that has been referred to by Barnes and others, the Mike Davis book, that has the chapter on letting Malibu burn. It's a Marxist racial thing about not offering money and services to wealthy white liberal communities based on the inner city's need for more money. This was all pre-planned in terms of Marxist ideology, and this is the result of those theoretical plans that we always discuss and argue about. This is them being carried out. I'm not alone saying this, but I'm just explaining it to the audience because we've been covering this story here for a couple of weeks now.
Yeah, it's not benign neglect.
It's not benign neglect. Yeah, it's
deliberate
It's
neglect.
deliberately done. It's not been, and then they weather the storm politically. She is the master of word salad. And I mean that word salad in a good political way of obfuscating intention and design. She has been studied by her underling, Kamala Harris, as to how to do this. Karen Bass is much better at this than Kamala Harris is. Karen Bass is a master politician. And I don't know if Rick Caruso is going to run again for mayor or not, but she's very good at confusing an issue and blinding people to her own complicity in this thing. But it wasn't neglect by accident, is what I'm trying to say. So I don't know what is Trump going to get out of this. They're going to go to court and try to sue the federal government for if he withholds federal aid, because they're not going to change the voter ID thing. There's no way. It would take, acts of the Assembly and the Senate and blah, blah, blah. Meanwhile, there's houses that have been destroyed, and now they're trying to expedite the cleanup of the sites. And as they pointed out in North Carolina, those people did not want to leave their property and were not given FEMA trailers. So they put their own tents on their own property. That's what is going on in North Carolina today, and in the past few months. That's why I came up with the idea for the FEMA trailers to just be dumped on the property and let people have a structure to live in. Go ahead. Let's see what this is.
Conditions being placed on aid to California, voter ID and the like. Are there any conditions that you're going to put on aid to North Carolina?
We're going to do a lot for North Carolina. They've been very slow. I don't know why it's been so bad. This has been one of the worst I've seen. Katrina, of course, was something that obviously that was a long time ago. That was not good. But this has been very slow. I don't know if that was for political reasons because they lost the state. Biden lost the state. Maybe he felt he doesn't care. Maybe there were other reasons. I don't know. But this has been very slow. By any standard, this has been very slow. And we're gonna make up for lost time.
No conditions you're going to push for aid.
Well, in California, I have a condition. In California, we want them to have voter ID so the people have a voice, because right now the people don't have a voice because you don't know who's voting, and it's very corrupt. And we also want them to release the water. If they released the water, they wouldn't have had a problem. If they released the water when I told them to, because I told them to do it 7 years ago, if they would have done it, you wouldn't have had the problem that you had. You might not have even had a fire. So
he's right.
But here I don't.
There's a 120 million gallon reservoir sitting above the Pacific Palisades that was empty. And the reason it was empty is that there was a tear in the cover that went over the reservoir water. And the reason that they drained it is because it was not drinkable because of bird poop and everything else going through the tear. But instead of saving it for fire, Eric, and not for drinking, which is what everybody else does, they drained it. So there was no water. And this is, of course, a higher elevation than the houses themselves. So the pressure allows it to go down to the fire hydrants. There was that water, even though it was not drinkable because of the tear in the cover, instead of just replacing the cover, they didn't do anything for over a year. In fact, they didn't even tell the fire departments, county and city fire departments of LA, that reservoir, that main reservoir, 120 million gallon reservoir, was empty. So when they got to those fire hydrants and opened them, they were shocked that there was no water coming out. Think about that. It's unbelievable neglect.
You're $750,000 employee of the water department. That one.
Yeah, she knew about it. But she's not a government employee. The fact is that Bass was responsible, or the DEI fat ladies of the fire department were responsible to pass the information along. They didn't. So they went up there thinking, hey, let's open it up. Let's go, Bob. And nothing came out because the reservoir was empty.
Wow.
Yeah.
Amazing. Well, somebody's house is about to be empty, it appears. Kamala Harris is blaming Doug Emhoff for all of her ills.
Oh, boy. Yeah, you knew this was going to come down to it. He's apparently taken a job in New York at a New York entertainment law firm. He used to work in Century City at some other, maybe the same one, I don't know, another entertainment law firm, which is what he does. I don't know if it's the same firm or he's just going to their New York offices to work, but the two of them were shopping somewhere in Whole Foods yesterday. They're trying to figure out how to buy things at the cash register, which was kind of interesting. And they said, eggs, $22 for eggs. Who the hell knew, Kamala? $22 for eggs. Yeah, it's kind of interesting how these two are going to function. Again, Emhoff accused of beating former girlfriends, having sex with a nanny, having a baby out of wedlock, giving her a job at Lorne Michaels' company, Broadway Video, where she was the nanny and the school teacher, plus nanny school teacher of that little trans kid who's the kid of Emhoff, by the way. So not only was she the school teacher in a private school of Emhoff's daughter, or non-binary, whatever she is, she was also the nannied a sleepover, babysitter, and then he had an affair with her. Then she demanded a job. Then he made her a job offer because he was in the entertainment law business, got her a job as vice president of Broadway Video, which is Lorne Michaels' movie company of all things from Saturday Night Live. Incredible story. It makes the story of what's her name chump change, Monica Lewinsky, because Lewinsky's demands of Clinton through Vernon Jordan, the lawyer for Clinton, was that she wanted to be a VJ on MTV. And Clinton blew his stack saying, even I can't get her that fucking job. What is she, insane? But Emhoff got her the job as vice president of Broadway Video, which is an insane story. However, I guess neither one of them need each other anymore.
So what will Emhoff's child's passport say, I wonder?
You know, it's a dark day for passports, I'll tell you that much. They're going to have to pick between two binary choices, either male on the left or female on the right. You have.
So are they going to be stuck in the office going?
You know what they'll do? They'll check both boxes. The smart asses will check both boxes.
Okay.
You want to explain to me what's going on with Tim Pool? Now he's leaving West Virginia.
I don't know.
Did you see that? What's the deal here?
I don't know. What did you hear? I mean, I saw that he tweeted out, "I'm leaving," but
right now, here's what I heard, and I finally figured out what's going on here. He put together a skate rink that went bad. Where I didn't follow that story. He's tried to start numerous businesses. Right, he's tried to start numerous businesses. Then I didn't realize the physics of where he really is.
Oh yeah,
it's really close to this college that a lot of blue people go to. There's colleges right there. There's a hospital right there. It's a lot of blue things. And I think the swatting is coming out of dormitories. I think his entire problem is that he's not so far in the woods away from this stuff and is in their sphere of influence. And I think that's really his problem. But I don't know what the straw was to break the camel's back, to answer your question.
Tim's going through some life stuff, I think.
Maybe.
He's getting married. He has a child on the way. So he's already talked about that, like how he's changing operations, having people help him out so he can spend more time, have a kid. I think he's just burned out. I mean, the guy.
It could be.
In fairness, when I was on there, we did the show until after 10 at night, 11, I'm getting out of there, getting back to the hotel around midnight. He's up in the morning at like 8 in the morning doing shows by like 9, 10 o'clock recording. Maybe he messes around a little bit in the afternoon. Then he does that show in the evening. He does that every day for years and years and years.
It's too much. It's too much.
Eventually, I think you just crack and you're like, you know what? I'm just over it. He's got more money than sense, so why not?
You're probably right. But speaking of cracking, did you see that these trans teacher videos on Libs of TikTok talking about if they come for our children? They're putting this out in California too. Statements that if the ICE people come for the children, they're going to fight them to the death. The battle of the trans classrooms. There's a couple of these out there. I don't know which one. This is one of them. I don't think this is a trans one. This is just a regular.
No, anyway, well, we get the point.
No, right. Let's see what this one says. Okay, I'm sorry.
I just want to say with my entire fucking chest and 10 toes down on my shitty broken tile classroom floor that it will be a frozen day in hell before someone from ICE comes in my classroom to remove a student they suspect is undocumented. First, because I have no undocumented students. What are you talking about? Second, even if I did, 1982 Plyer versus Doe says that it does not matter. Everyone is entitled to a fair and a free, appropriate education. And that's what I'm here to do. I am so sorry I can't come to my door right now. We're learning. We're doing class stuff. You're going to have to come back later. And by later, I mean never, because there are hills that I will die on. And this is one.
You're right on.
I just want to say.
Okay. Okay, that's a good one. But this is the trans
one. And as
a
high school teacher, I just want to make one. ICE can now raid classrooms. And as a high school teacher, I just want to make one thing clear.
Go ahead, Fatty.
If someone tries to come in my classroom and
Right.
take one of my students,
Yeah.
one of us isn't leaving the classroom.
You're leaving in
Play
handcuffs.
with me.
Who's
I
the
think
other
so.
one?
Well, we saw that box. Maybe they have a few of them laying around that
Oh,
can
the
drive
box
her around.
cuffs. Yeah, the box. She's going to be modeling a pair of box cuffs on the way out. I love this threat that they keep issuing. Like they're going to fight them. One of them is going not to survive because of my incredible ferocity. Bring it on, Holman. I want Holman to go into the classrooms looking for Willie Hernandez. We're taking his parents out. We want to know if Willie wants to join them. And watch these people fight the ICE people.
Oh.
Wow. Wow.
Please. Well, okay. At least one group, it appears, is taking action. This is kind of gross.
What?
But I can see where they'd be doing it.
Oh yeah,
migrants are
this is
seeking
gross.
C-sections, and I
Wow.
mean, that's
Wow.
a horrible desperation. I mean,
Yeah.
some things is like those teachers. That's hilarious.
That's
Mock them.
hilarious.
This
Yeah.
isn't. This is dark, and it's
This
like,
is real
wow.
dark. This is real dark. But it took them 1 hour to challenge Trump's birthright citizenship presidential edict in court. A guy out of Washington, unfortunately, a Reagan judge, started not only just issuing a suspension of Trump's order. This is like the Muslim ban 2.0. He lectured Trump. This is a Reagan judge out of Seattle, a federal judge who was involved in the suspension of Trump's executive order. I don't know why you have to issue an editorial denunciation of the order by simply just doing your job and saying, I'm going to block this until we figure it out. This guy went out of his way to make editorial statements about Trump's order.
I don't know. There's some of the Reagan nominees are the ones who wound up turning into liberals over time.
Yeah.
Remember Sandra Day O'Connor?
Yeah.
And others. So it's kind of like, and there are giant problems with that.
Well, I wanted to talk about some flying things because there's a couple of things. There's one about JetBlue with something falling out of JetBlue going through someone's house in Inglewood here the other day. JetBlue flies over homes in Inglewood, not just JetBlue, all the airlines. It's on the flight path coming out of LAX. And these people were in bed in their own house when this thing comes through their roof the size of a watermelon. And it was a block of ice coming off of a JetBlue plane. And they're now suing JetBlue for $1 million. But the description in the lawsuit goes into how they're in bed when this thing comes through the roof and how shocked they were. It's kind of interestingly humorous, but they weren't hurt in the event. But how does this happen? How does a block of ice the size of a watermelon fall out of the bottom of a plane into someone's, through their roof, into their bedroom?
Well, I know we have pilots who watch this. I have a feeling, I think that these blocks probably fall more often than we realize. And it probably just usually falls
to the
innocuously
ground. Into
wherever.
The ocean. Yeah.
Ocean, ground, desert, open land, whatever. But yeah, I've heard of this kind of thing happening. I don't know if it's the planes, if it's really JetBlue's fault or not. That's kind of
I don't even know. This is going to go to
question.
court. My dad told me many times when he worked at JFK in New York, how the plane landing gear would come down and bodies would fall out frozen from the landing gear. And there's also jet poo, which is another sidebar issue. But my dad told me that they would get on at the last minute running onto a tarmac in, like, whether it was a Dominican Republic or a third world country that didn't have the protection of a major airport. They'd run on at the last minute, get up in the wheel well and hide out up there until it landed in New York. And then some of them would be alive and just run off into the marsh when they taxied the plane into the hangar. He saw that many times. But he also said to me, he saw many times of just a frozen dead body coming down and hitting the tarmac when the landing gear came down.
Wow.
Also, all of these from Caribbean countries on that route, because you were able to, he said you were able to survive if you got a low flight plan that day and were not flying that high, Eric. In other words, it depended on the altitude, but a lot of the flight plans had them at a relatively low altitude because it was a short flight. And then they were able to weather the frozen, oxygen. But some of them died up there and would just come out like a dead frozen carcass.
Wow. Amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing. Well, we got a lot of super chats that have come in, whatnot.
Okay.
So definitely might cut that. Mark D's a new member. Thank you very much. Biffron said, release the Taka files.
What's the Taka files?
I'm not sure, but Dick Dickerson has been a member for 26 months. Destiny going to jail. So much.
Who's
winning.
Destiny?
Yeah, he is a former Twitch streamer, lefty. He's a political guy, Stephen Donald III or something like that. And I'm sure you've seen him before. He's got like curly hair, just a lily livered looking guy who speaks really fast. He gish gallops all the time in debates. He's like on Piers.
Oh, okay.
All that stuff. Anyway,
did you see the Haitian gang member they got up in Boston? That maniac.
Yeah. He seems so nice. He
was screaming "F Trump." I'm a Biden supporter.
Yeah. And I'm not going. You're not taking me to Haiti.
I'm not going back to Haiti.
Box cuffs for him too.
Wow. That guy. He had 17 violent felony convictions on his record. And he was yelling, "They're not taking me alive."
Really,
Copper.
him?
I couldn't
gentle.
believe it. Yeah, he was so gentle, screaming out the window of the ICE van.
All right. Pew Pew gifted 10 America's Untold Stories memberships. Thank you very much, Pew Pew. We really do appreciate it. Fletcher Boy said, giving the signing pin to RFK Jr. another FU to the swamp.
Yeah, definitely. But also well-deserved. I mean, if it wasn't for the unrelenting pressure from RFK Jr. and others, I don't know if this day would have come. Now,
and it's his family, for God's sake.
Well, I mean, I think the most interesting part is when they get to the RFK assassination files, which both he and I have been dealing with for a number of years through mutual friends and also through Sirhan and the parole hearings of Sirhan. That's the one I'm excited about, to see what's in there. Because that covers both CIA and FBI.
100%. Charlie Don't Surf, release the Gulf of Tonkin papers as well.
Not sure what those are, but if they're made of paper, let's see. I don't know if there's papers. I don't think LBJ was stupid enough to write down, I'm going to have a fake false flag incident in the Gulf.
All right. Diffuse 56 gifted 10 America's Untold Stories memberships, which we really do appreciate. Mary S. with 20 pounds is a big fan of a.
Is that a lot from Cork, Ireland?
Not 20 pounds, 20 euros. Sorry, Ireland has the euro.
Yeah, it's a euro thing there, right?
Yeah, I forget. Except for Northern Ireland.
After we liberate the UK, I think Ireland has to be liberated as well.
Maybe there's hope. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, this country has gone through so much distortion. Ireland. I mean, after we liberate England.
Oh, did you see that the UK will not recognize the Gulf of America? They've already put that out.
Tough break. That's going to change. That's going to change. Everything that they're saying they're not going to do, he's going to tighten a financial screw to make them do it.
Of course.
Yeah.
But I think it's funny. Go ahead.
Of course it's funny. Of course it's funny.
Dick Dickerson gifted 50 America's Untold Stories memberships.
No man has ever gone higher than 50, as you know, on the show. So 50.
I don't know. Dick might have, but it's.
I don't think I go back in time. You may want to look if anybody's gone above 50 in the history of the show.
If they did, it was Dick.
I don't remember.
I know that Dick 50. Has been the high water mark.
Yeah, no. I'm saying, but records are made to be broken, said Joe DiMaggio.
But thank you very much, Dick. That is very generous of you. Very. Ichikami. Not now. If only he could release the Epstein and Diddy lists.
What is the Epstein list other than the records of them flying on a plane to Epstein Island? What is the list that people are talking about? Is Dershowitz part of that list? I mean, I'm curious to see what is the list, and what is that in a list somewhere on Angie's list? I mean, what is it?
Well, I mean, the flight records. Not all the flight records have been released. So
okay,
if you
But I mean,
combine all
we've
that
seen,
into a
we've seen
record,
the dates of Clinton flying. We've seen the flight records of others flying there. Is there some other records that were?
I think so, and I think he
What are
also
those?
had,
Or why
well,
would
that's the
they
thing.
release
It's
the flight records of Clinton and Gates and everyone else flying? I mean, isn't that damaging enough, or there's more? You're saying?
there's more from what I understand, a
All
lot
right.
more, right? And I don't know why they've been
Why do
selective
they
of
think
only
there's
release
more?
this and not that.
Why do they believe or know that? Not believe. Why do they know there's other lists?
Well, I mean,
Has somebody said some person said I have a list and I'm not releasing it, or is it just urban myth in your opinion?
I think there's probably client lists.
Okay.
I mean, who came in and paid, or whatever. Diffuse is a member for 10 months, 120,000 subs. Congrats. Hit the like button, everyone. Yes, please do hit the like button.
I want to talk about when we're done with this, I wanted to talk about the Oscar nominations, which came out, as you're well aware, on Thursday. For the craziest nominations I've ever seen in my life, because Trump has said he's picked these three guys, John Voight, Sylvester Stallone, and Mel Gibson, to try to make Hollywood great again. I think they have bottomed out. I think they have hit a new low. There's 15 subs or 15 nominations for Amelia Perez, which has been said by some critics as the worst film ever made, even on Rotten Tomatoes, and Wicked. Combined, these two films have 25 Oscar nominations. This may be the bottom of Hollywood finally hitting bottom and stop digging and possibly go in the other direction with the help of Stallone, Mel Gibson, and John Voight.
Let's hope.
Yeah. I mean, this is a new low. This is a new low.
Well, I don't know. Give them time, Mark. I'm sure they can get lower.
I don't think so, because not only are they low, they're not making any money. So this may be a fait accompli.
Well, with their crews disappearing, this is going to be worse than the writer strike.
Yeah, there apparently is no production work happening. It might be because of the fires. It might be because they've now decided to go with foreign films and not even be involved in them. And just to explain to the audience, a negative pickup in the film business is when you simply purchase a completed film. It's kind of what Netflix does for the most part, and it's kind of what the streamers do. They will buy a film that's in a film festival after they've seen it, thereby minimizing the amount of risk of investing in a film, of making a film. It's called a negative pickup. In other words, you bid on a particular film and you buy it, and then you do P&A, prints and advertising, to publicize it. That's basically what's been happening, and it's basically recently been the model for Hollywood, and that's why you're seeing all these foreign films getting awards. It's because the studios are merely purchasing the American distribution rights to one of these films and then awarding it to help themselves with their own film.
Isn't there an argument too with foreign films that even if you funded the film, you don't have to pay for A-lister salaries, or you might have it limited down to one? Because the talent is so expensive in terms of the budget that these films are cheap.
Yeah, I mean, these films have no stars in them. It's not a star vehicle like an American film. But as an economic model, it's less risky for a studio to pick up a film like Parasite out of South Korea, which cost 2 cents to make and 3 cents to buy, give it a bunch of awards and call it a day, than dealing with major stars who have major salaries of $20 to $30 million, and then the movie flops anyway, like Batgirl or something.
Yeah. All right. The Rod said Greer didn't shoot JFK, but he's the reason for the failed shot. Bullets raining down the car. He's oblivious. Must have had those early edition earphones. Yeah,
well, he does turn around 2 or 3 times actually, and steps on the gas going at 90 miles an hour to Parkland. So I don't know if that's actually complicity. He slows down because the lead car, which is filled with Army intelligence people, stopped way ahead of him. The car that stopped is not his. It's the lead car that has all these Army intel people that you may want to look at, Rod.
All right, Dick Dickerson, can the DOJ challenge Biden pardons of his family, Fauci, and the rest, since you can't be pardoned for non-crimes?
Yeah, that's what we're talking about in the last episode, and apparently Tom Fitton is talking about it also, and other people are talking about it. I think this is highly challengeable, and I hope the DOJ goes after them, because the Supreme Court has to rule on this for the future of the country, not just the pardons of these individuals that everybody despises. That's not the legal point here. The legal point, as I said last week, is you could pick a designated hitter at the beginning of your administration and go out there and do evil, illegal evil, and then just give him a pardon. And you could write the pardon day one and give it to the guy secretly. You could write a pardon for all crimes, put the dates on it, give it to a guy, and push him out the door saying, go do whatever I tell you to do. Here's your pardon. And I'm not even exaggerating. Here's your pardon. I'm going to pardon you for all crimes I want you to do on my behalf. And you're not even arrested or convicted of anything, and never you will be either, because here's your pardon. It's got to be contested, Eric.
All right, Fletcher Boy said, does Biden's preemptive pardons protect the rats from civil trials? Nope.
Well,
I don't believe it does.
But a judge can. A judge cannot allow a trial to come to his court, saying, you know what I mean, saying you don't have standing or you don't have the right to be.
It's
right.
possible, but a civil case is a civil case. That's no jeopardy.
Right,
All you lose is money.
Where do you bring it? Do you bring it in D.C. with a D.C. jury?
Well, a civil trial, you could do it from whatever state you're in.
Okay.
If you're harmed in Texas, you can bring it in Texas. You know, it's not necessarily federal. You can do it on state level. There are ways to do it, and guess what? They can't plead the fifth in the case, so they actually have to testify. So we could get good things out of that. Barb Arlen, or Arian, sorry, I don't know how to say it. Anana. We've learned what the government can do: create the problem and then sell the solution. When the people need a hero, we shall supply him. Albert Pike. Yeah.
Is Albert Pike, was he the other commander on Star Trek or something? Was that Albert Pike?
Probably some foreign dignitary.
Okay.
Gen X memories. The feds are going to need a shit pile of black Sharpies for all the JFK, RFK, King files. No way they don't draw all over those pages.
Well, part of the releases over the years, just to address that, has been redacted files. In 2023, 2021, 2022, there were a bunch of files that came out that were repeats of releases of previous files that they got unredacted, if that makes any sense to people. And
Yeah.
Trump is ordering these files to be unredacted, which is a beautiful thing. So maybe even if the bulk of the file release are the unredacted versions of previous files, that would be a big deal.
Still an improvement, absolutely.
Yeah.
And what I was trying to point out too earlier on X is, while a lot of files are destroyed, a lot are gone, etc., MK Ultra, they burned the files, but it still came out because they happen to be somewhere else. So
yeah,
even if they have been hiding and pulling shenanigans over the years, things still can be discovered. You never know. Just put whatever there is out there. All of your, JFK researchers know this so well. You guys know where to look and how to look to draw different parallels.
Well, the unredactions, like we talked about one as a humorous example when we were doing an episode, and we talked about E. Howard Hunt, where it said his name was redacted, but underneath it said novelist and writer. It didn't have his name, but it was clear from the unredacted portion that they were referring to E. Howard Hunt in the early memo.
100%. Jonathan G94, my fellow Okie, Carrie Underwood, performing at the inauguration was such a delight, even with the tech issues, and no doubt deliberate. By the way, she clapped the same way as Pelosi at the State of the Union address as a troll to Dems.
Interesting. Oh, you mean like this thing?
I guess so.
That Pelosi clapping thing?
I guess so.
Is that what you mean? I think physically the way she claps?
I don't know. Maybe. QED said no one cares about Malcolm X.
The Malcolm X was not on the list. I mean, some people care about him. you know, and Al Gonzalez talked about it, Barnes talks about it, you know, how the NYPD allowed this to happen. You know, I never really seen that detail of
Well,
Malcolm
was it
X was
state?
at war with Elijah Muhammad. I mean, and was a marked man and ordered to be killed by Elijah Muhammad. Whether the NYPD allowed that to happen is a subtle, hard to prove differentiation. But it wasn't like he was killed by some white Klansman.
Well, also, was that a federal case or was it a state case?
No, it
So
was
it's kind
state.
of-
It was
yeah.
interstate.
So it's kind of, how's Trump
Yeah.
gonna, you know, hey, state, release this? I don't know
Yeah.
how that would fly. Jenny's going to ink you with it. Tim talked about it last night. West Virginia apparently voted in a gig economy bill that prevents contract workers. Okay, there it is.
It's like the California
issues
bill
with
that
the
we
coffee house.
had the same thing a number of years ago, and he was using California in his description as a model as to, because we create. Remember when we had that here by that woman down in San Diego about Uber drivers and the gig workers that may have happened in West Virginia. When did West Virginia become California? Because that's what he was alleging, Tim Pool.
Well, I mean, a gig law like that would just screw him over. I mean, he has drivers. He has a ton of people that are on contract. Even his co-hosts are probably contract workers, you know, for Timcast IRL. And if they say something like, well, you can only give X amount of time, or, you know, they lock it down. Yeah, he can't afford it. He has to move.
Did you see the TikTok UFO video out of Ohio from last night? I didn't want to let go of this UFO story because Trump has vowed this week to address the UFO drone story, is what I'm talking about. And I'm very interested as to what is going to be revealed in this more than the JFK thing, because it's more immediate, if that makes any sense. He seems to want to take care of this drone story this week, Eric. And just last night at a UFO, this sighting last night out of Ohio, this TikTok combination of videos.
Tic-tac. It's not TikTok. It's a tic-tac.
Tic-tac. Well, they look like TikToks.
Tic-tacs.
Tic-tacs? What is the candy?
Tic-tac.
Oh, yeah, that's what I meant. I'm sorry. Let's see what this looks like if you play this.
1, 2, 3. That's not those are not airplanes.
What is that?
I don't know.
And like I said, I'm recording this literally through my iPhone. I'm moving the camera. Like this. These objects are. They look to be round shaped, and it's really weird. It's like a fleet. They're not weather balloons. They're not planes.
I hate that it's an iPhone.
Definitely not helicopters or drones.
Hold on.
It's around 5 p.m. Holy. Did you see this? Look at the speed that thing did. This is insane. What the fuck?
What the fuck? Eric, it's crazy.
I don't know.
I mean, he's not alone there, but I'm just saying this was last night in Ohio. This has to be dealt with. I mean, we can't have a nation. You talk about nation of borders. You can't have a nation where these items are flying over your country every night, you know, without an explanation. Whatever they are, Trump says he's going to reveal to the American people what they are. And I'm more excited about that because it's going to happen quickly as to what the hell this is.
Let's just hope.
Is it private contractors, Eric?
I hope so. I mean, let's be honest. With that kind of technology, if it's actual extraterrestrial, well, we're just screwed. Okay.
Right. Nobody wants to go there. Nobody wants to go there because of the screw factor that Eric's mentioning.
It's the truth. You know, it's hours, then great. I can sleep better at night. But some of that's just kind of like, well, there's nothing we can do about it. Even if we know that it's that, it'll be like, yeah, well, what are you going to do about it?
Well, I don't want to be smug and like, you know, a lot of people say, how could there be life anywhere else on the earth? It seems like the people saying that are a little bit dismissive of people who are suggesting that. Now, I don't have the answer. I don't know. And until we do know, we can't rule anything out. Right, Eric?
I agree. I did say there was a reason I said it. I don't like that being in an iPhone. And that's because
Well, there are other
It's
recordings
using
besides the iPhone.
AI. Well, I was gonna say, yeah, because it's using AI to extrapolate things, and you
But
can
these
get
are
some weird
there's so
stuff.
many people filming it at this point, who are honest people who are not doing digital AI
Oh, no, no, no,
alteration.
oh,
I
no,
mean,
I'm
these
not.
are literally being uploaded.
Right. No,
In
I'm not saying they're deliberately doing it. I'm
Oh,
saying
okay,
that
all right.
this could be like the water tower. Okay. When they said, look at the guy who's walking around the water tower, and it's a shadow problem, and the iPhone will adapt to take the best picture possible, but it's not like actual film where what you
Yeah.
see is what you get. It's
Well,
actually
right. I
interpreting
agree.
things.
There are
That's all I'm saying.
different devices that have recorded these things around the country. But this was just last night, so I thought it might be appropriate to see for our audience, and because Trump says he's going to deal with it this week. I mean, I don't know what Trump knows, and he apparently knows, according to Trump, that he knows what this is because the government told him, and he didn't want to reveal it before he was in office. So, bring it on, bring on that revelation.
Well, he said, yeah, about the drones. When he was signing the documents, one of the reporters asked him, he goes, you know what? That's right.
Yeah.
Susie, can you check on that?
Yeah, get back to me. I mentioned the drones, bro. Come on.
It's so refreshing, though. Again, you've got a guy who actually responds in the moment. He doesn't, he's not hiding from it. But speaking of hiding from it,
I think you're right. I think he's answered more questions than Biden answered in 4 years, in 4 days.
No,
I mean, I'd love to
well,
see somebody count the number.
Yeah.
I think Grok could answer that question, because there's a documented level of questions that, okay.
Well, I'm sure, yes, it's possible. I mean,
I'm going to
there's
ask Grok after the show. But by the way, did you see how much money was stolen by the Ukraine chief of the army psychology division? That they have a psychology division is insane. But the Ukrainian chief psychologist that was arrested, and he had millions of dollars in American cash in his house that he stole himself in foreign aid. Just to give you a tip of the iceberg of how incredibly corrupt this Ukrainian war has become. Apparently, everyone is fed at this trough over there.
Wow. Well, I got to step away for a second. So, how about you tell everybody about the 2025 Hall of Fame voting?
Yeah, I'm going to go into
baseball.
that. I was going to go into that anyway. Well, Huntley goes to the bathroom. Okay, so we got 3 nominees who have been approved. Actually, 3 is Billy Wagner, who is a relief pitcher for Houston, CC Sabathia, who pitched for the Yankees and Milwaukee, and of course the legendary Ichiro Suzuki. Now, let me just start with Suzuki, because Suzuki, and this is well deserved on the part of Suzuki. The Japanese player shows up at the age of 27 because he's already played, which is, I think, the law in Japan. You can't go to the major leagues until you play 8 years. Suzuki's first year which was with Seattle in 2001, hits 350, wins the batting title, and that's at the age of 27. 242 hits, 56 stolen bases, and a 350 batting average. I think he wins 2 batting titles, 7 hit leader awards, and 3,089 hits, a 309 lifetime, to me gets you in the Hall. Of course, he wasn't a home run hitter, but he did have 500 plus stolen bases. So 24th all time in terms of hits, automatic Hall of Famer to me. Of course, he's Japanese, and I believe, obviously, the first Japanese player into the American Hall of Fame. But well-deserved, played till he was 45. Now, CC Sabathia, question mark, could be on the bump. Won 20 games only once in his life. 2010, I think it was 21-7. In 2009, he was 19-8. I don't get it. Played for 19 years. They usually take that into account. 251 and 161 wins and losses. But even in the postseason, had a 4.28 ERA. So it didn't dominate in the post. Billy Wagner, who I think was a closer who was 8th all time in saves in the history of closers. It was his 10th year on the ballot, and I think that's the limit before you're knocked off for the Hall of Fame. They've gotten too soft all across the board in this Hall of Fame jazz. but 422 saves, nothing to sneeze at, with a .998 WHIP and 2.21 ERA. Obviously, he's not Mariano Rivera with 652 saves, or even Kenley Jansen with 447 is still pitching. But those are the 3 Hall of Fame entries. They will go to Cooperstown this summer. They will be inducted into the Baseball Hall of Fame, one of the greatest honors in the history of American sports. All 3 of them, a white guy, a Japanese guy, and a black guy. Again, this is MLB's really freaking woke, and I'm sure they thought about that. And those are the 3 new inductees into the Baseball Hall.
All right. Well, to continue our sports segment, I think it's always good to cheer on your home team.
ELGSES Eagles! Let's go, Birds!
Let's go, Birds!
Wow. Wow, the queen of misspelling. Who is that, the mayor of the town?
That's the mayor of Philadelphia.
Dear God. I mean, there has to be literacy. And I've said this before. For these government offices, there has to be tests. Just a baseline. Doesn't have to be the SATs, Hunley. Doesn't have to be the SATs. There's got to be tests for every single office in America that's a public office. You have to take a written exam, and there has to be a passing score. I know it sounds crazy. I know that you're going to say, some libertarian's going to say, if I want to vote for someone who's a mongoloid or Down syndrome, that's my right. I get it. But the rest of us need some standards. And if you can't spell the name of your home team, Eagles, I don't think you have the right to be the mayor of that city. That's just me. That's just me. I'm crazy.
I don't know, but it's a classic, perfect moment. Unbelievable. Now, the Doge is starting to roll out, and this is almost perfectly symbolic. One of the first things that Doge is going after is the penny.
What?
So if you think about it, the idea of Doge is cutting pennies, cutting costs.
They hate the penny.
Well,
the poor penny people. Yeah.
Oh yeah, well,
it comes up every couple of years, doesn't it?
Well, because it costs 3 cents now for every
Here
penny.
Here we go with the anti-penny people. Go on.
Anti-penny. What are you? You're a pro penny?
I'm pro penny. I've always.
All right. Well, everybody below, are you anti or pro penny? Do you actually use
working
pennies?
Class people are pro penny. I guarantee you right now. Working class people who watch this show are going to be pro penny, because we've had to count pennies. We've had to roll pennies, go to the bank. We've had to take pennies out of our pocket and pay for something.
I have too.
No, I know you have. I know you have.
But I'm not necessarily pro penny.
Okay, you're going against your own class. You're a class
lays
trader,
around.
Hunley. You're a class trader.
The class trader. There you go. I'm curious about it, though, because one of the issues with the penny is inexact measurements. And my thought is, if you get rid of the penny, you should also get rid of the quarter and the nickel.
Oh, see, it doesn't stop. It's a slippery slope with you people.
That's right.
It doesn't.
You know
stop.
why? Because then you can just move the decimal point over 1 point.
Next thing you know, it's digital currency, and we're running around with mission creep and thought crimes and a Minority Report with you people.
Either way, I'm just saying. Because
what about paper money, Hunley? You want to get rid of paper money?
Let it burn. No, of course.
Oh my God! How are people going to snort drugs in your world? There's straws have already been banned. The only way to snort drugs is to roll up some sort of paper money. He's stumped now, isn't he? Now he doesn't know what to say. The effect of these things are like a domino effect. Your banning of the penny leads to the banning of the nickel.
Right. That's what I said.
Yeah, that's why I'm opposed to the banning of the penny.
I get rid of the quarter too.
What are you going to put underneath the railroad tracks to flatten out?
I know, that's a good point. I do collect pennies from.
I knew it. Of course, so do I.
But,
it's a dark day you're painting. I mean, it's a dark picture that you're painting in your world, Hunley. Watch where you go with this.
There we go. There we go. Well, these are the controversial subjects
they are.
that we cover. So.
Do they have pennies in South Africa? I don't even know if they have pennies there.
I don't know, but the argument's been made before, and it's.
I mean, how does it sound? A crypto for your thoughts. A crypto for your thoughts, honey.
Well, right now, if it's Bitcoin, I'm all for it, buddy.
A crypto for your thoughts.
That's $100,000. My thought is very valuable. If you can
How
give
you
me
have to
a
change the
Bitcoin
name
for a
of the
thought.
song Penny Lane to Crypto Lane? I mean, that's terrible. It doesn't even rhyme, Eric.
Well, you never know where they are. But all right, we've been full of news lately, and I wanted to share something with folks because you know that I talk about coffee, and occasionally we have sponsors.
Oh, occasionally is right. That's a good point.
But we don't have a whole lot of sponsors.
Gee, I wonder why.
So we'll go into that here in a second. But before we do that, we need to get our energy up, and one way to do that is to, of course, have coffee. And I am bringing up the coffee deliberately because this is a company who has been working with us for a while now. Custom made a flavor just for us, which I think is really cool, that we don't just have something, the typical white box thing, which is, you get the repackaged fake Starbucks or whatever the hell it is. You put together, stick your label on it. This was custom designed for us. I guess that's what you do with coffee, is you design it. But it's a custom blend, a breakfast blend with really top-notch beans, roasted in a way that is not burnt.
Right.
On 100 times about how
you
have creamer with this because it tastes really good. It's really rich. But if you like cream, have cream. If you like Amos Miller and you want raw milk, have raw milk with it. Do it.
I had the hazelnut coffee from them, and I put hazelnut creamer in it.
You double down.
I doubled it, blew my head off my shoulders, but I was still enjoying the double barrel hazelnut operation.
100%. So this helps us out, helps out a veteran business. This kind of thing is a way, support the show. If you're going to drink coffee anyway, it's really good coffee. And I do recommend, if you really like it, to buy it in 4-packs so you can get free shipping.
Wow. Because
shipping will kill you. I mean, I just shipped a couple of these coins, and it's $7 for
what?
$7 for this.
Oh my God, that's insane, Eric.
I mean, I know our coins are, well made, but $7. I kid you not. It's just ridiculous. Check out our coffee. We definitely appreciate it. And now I will go into why it is really important, for us if we have a sponsor, if you guys, just visit them or whatever. I discovered earlier there's this site. It's Thought Leaders, and Thought Leaders is a place that sells sponsorships, and they connect other sponsors with different channels, things like that. And I noticed that there is a little bit of a note on our channel.
What is this?
Here we go. Marketer's note. While the channel boosts a substantial and engaged audience.
It says boasts, but go on.
Oh, boasts. Okay.
Sorry.
Well, it is. I mean, it's real. You guys are incredibly engaged. Go look at the chat.
Yeah.
Marketers should be aware of the niche and potentially controversial nature of its content before collaboration.
Go fuck yourselves.
So, that this
no
kind
wonder
of thing
we don't
is
have
out
any
there.
ads. Yeah,
exactly. So when we do get a sponsor, I really do appreciate it, because at least they have the balls enough to say, you know what, hell with that.
Well, he's a vet. He's a veteran of the war. I mean, this guy is tough. He's a tough dude. It's not going to buckle because of these influencers.
Yeah. That's, and it all helps. So
it all helps. Definitely helps. I just want to get back to that situation with the JFK files for 1 second. I left out the story of the archivist, and the archivist is also going to be replaced. The archivist was the one who was instrumental in the raid on Mar-a-Lago and dealing with the files that Trump took with him. Remember, there was a battle over her trying to get the files back from Trump, and Trump had his people agreeing on the timeline of the return of the files, and then she worked closely with the FBI to raid Mar-a-Lago. That's the woman who would be in charge of putting up the files. The physical JFK files are going to have to go somewhere. And traditionally where they've gone is to the National Archives website, as I described. That's where all the files are.
Sure.
This woman, Colleen J. Shogan, is the woman who is the archivist of the United States right now. she is going to be replaced by Trump because Trump said he's going to replace her. So when she is going to be replaced, she also the new one has to be confirmed. This is her here, this dingbat. So in other words, she physically would put the files up on the website that were handed down by Dixon, the other woke dingbat. So that's why I'm saying it behooves Trump to wait till he replaces both these people, because she is an enemy of the state. This one, Shogun, actually worked with the FBI director in the phony Mar-a-Lago raid to undermine Trump. So to give her the selected JFK files and say, here you go, honey, would be a disaster, in my humble opinion.
I agree. I mean, we already see what Biden.
I mean, he should, right. He should have simply said, I'm going to do all this once I replace these two bitches from hell, or his own terminology. He should have just added on, I will do this after I replace these two.
Well, and I hate to say, why even do the executive order now?
I
Honestly,
don't know.
He could have waited until Tulsi started the job and then said, I got something for you. I'm sure it's tied in with RFK, maybe trying to get it out before RFK.
Maybe it was part of an agreement that he made with RFK.
It could be, but I do kind of wish he had just waited. All he promised during the campaign was early in his presidency, early on. Well, in the first 2 months, first 90 days, that's plenty early. I think everybody will be fine.
It's just added confusion. That's why I've had trouble explaining this on Twitter, because it's just not a place I can explain things, unlike the show here where I can go into more detail. But I hope people now understand of what I'm talking about. I don't know what Morley's talking about, but in a way, Benz wanted to set up a tribunal, like a Truth and Reconciliation Tribunal, to funnel these files through and let them go through them and pick out the files. That could be a little cumbersome, and that could end up being a censorship device too. But that being said, I have recommended 3 journalists to go through the files. And I will say again, Jim DiEugenio, Dick Russell, and Rex Bradford from the Mary Farrell Foundation are the 3 I feel are most qualified to physically go through the files and to release to the public what's there, just like they did with the Twitter files, Eric.
Well, what I'd like to be done is somebody to grab hold of the index or catalog immediately of what they have, because it's easier to change I would look for date changes, okay, because they've got a list of the files somehow, right? They have, you have the files, but you have something denoting what files you actually have. I want that thing locked down. So
it could be stretched out. I'll give you an example. Like the night before they were set to testify for the House Assassinations Committee, the deputy or director of ONI came into the testimony and sworn testimony and said proudly, in my humble opinion, that the night before they had destroyed the Lee Harvey Oswald ONI files. So it depends what agency you're talking about with these files. They're not all CIA. It could be in the recesses of ONI, for instance, of which I believe Oswald was. People don't seem to understand that he was a Marine and was ONI and not CIA. The CIA did have files on him. I believe the CIA did set him up, but I believe he worked initially for ONI. I mean, why would they have files to destroy before the House Assassinations Committee in 1977 if he did not work for ONI? So, I mean, thereby was a confession indirectly by ONI.
Perfect. Hold on. Somebody said that the coffee URL did not work.
Okay.
Lovely. I'll get that fixed soon.
Well, what I could say is that Colleen Joy Shogun, the aforementioned archivist of the United States, is also the author of 8 mystery novels, Eric, featuring Washington congressional aide, I guess it's fictional, Kit Marshall, with titles including Stabbing in the Senate, Homicide in the House, and Larceny in the Library. This is what she's been doing in 2023 about her novels. Quote, they're puzzles, and I like to solve puzzles. This is what she's been busy doing when not setting up the former president of the United States with the FBI for not returning the files that he owns himself as president of the United States, classified files.
Lovely. Lovely. All right. We got a ton of super chats. At least
go
people
ahead.
are supporting us here.
Thank God.
She clearly never read Dante. Hell's already frozen.
Which one? The head of DNI or the archivist?
I'm not sure.
Stacey Dixon or Colleen
Well, 6:30.
Joy?
This came in at 6:30. So
okay, so maybe she's talking about Colleen.
Maybe. Dick Dickerson. If they are heavy for a landing, they can dump potable water to drop some pounds. But
That's funny.
Can't create a block.
That's funny. You know, if you drop blocks of ice out on the fire, you know, maybe the fire will melt it into water and it'll help put out the fire.
That's true. Doug Jack Emhoff.
Oh, it's like jack off, like he's a jack off.
Jack him off.
Jack him off. I get it.
That's not bad.
That's not bad.
Pamela Clifton, thank you very much. Tim McLaughlin, thank you very much. Scott Benbow. Let's see. Greer was driving left side, forehead ruined was on the right.
You don't know Greer. He's a trick shooter. He was in the circus for many years. Greer used the revolver gun with the bent thing to shoot him on this other side of the head. Yeah, that's a good Scott. That's pretty funny, actually.
100%. Fletcher boy. Donald Trump's giving a big middle finger in the WEF. Excellent.
Yeah, he did, didn't he? He did. I saw a little bit of that, right?
I haven't seen that yet. I've meant to, but I haven't. What went down?
He was basically saying, "We're going to free the world and go fuck yourselves."
I like that.
Yeah,
that's a good idea. All right, Big Bill 767. Oh, here we go. 767. That makes sense. I'm an airline pilot. If there is a leak at the exterior service panel for the toilets, the leak can turn into a block of blue ice over hours at cruise and then fall off when you get to warmer altitude.
Wow. Wow. Yeah.
That had to be painful, though.
Wow.
All right. Diffuse 56. Huzzah. UFO, UAP disclosure now.
Yeah, let's go. That's right. Let's do it.
Ginny's getting inky with it. Albert Pike was a Confederate general. Oh.
Okay. Oh, okay. Okay.
All right. Big Bill 767. JetBlue. A leak at the toilet service panel is a no-go item because of the situation that you described.
Right.
Okay.
Right. I remember taking a leak when I was a kid. In a jet. We were flying to Puerto Rico. I must have been like 15, and I looked down and I saw the lights of San Juan. And was I imagining that? Can I possibly have seen the city lights through the toilet? I'm asking the pilots out there.
Yeah, you're not asking me. I know that.
No. I'm putting that back out to the pilots. I don't know what the configuration of the plane was, but we were flying to San Juan from New York. And I distinctly remember seeing civilization, the lights of civilization through that toilet.
Wow.
Yeah. Maybe unless I imagine the whole thing.
All right. And by the way, the link is fixed for anybody who's trying to get coffee. I apologize. Mundo's moved their entire site to another shopping service. So
okay,
that has been corrected. So thank you very much. Somebody RTX actually gave a Rumble rant to tell me that the link didn't work. So
wow, really that's above and beyond.
I'm telling you, thank you very much. There's also an earlier Rumble rant here from Paul Rose 76. Why do MLK's heirs want to see the files before they are released? And what will they be able to retract, or will they be able to redact what is released?
MLK's heirs are mentally retarded. They have, and plus they're all over the spectrum, left and right. There's a number of different heirs. They have done so many bizarre things with his heritage and with his rights. suing people for using his speech, the "I Have a Dream" speech, in public domain, blocking Anna Duvay, I forget who directed Selma, from actually using the "I Have a Dream" speech. They're nuts. They're fucking nuts. They had a Martin Luther King center down there that they let fall apart. I think in Atlanta, with rats were roaming over it, the ceiling collapsed. It's just been one embarrassment after another. Oliver Stone famously writing a great script about the assassination of Martin Luther King, and them going to Warner Brothers and protesting successfully. The script being made into a movie because he had Martin Luther King had as a character was sleeping with different women in the script, and Oliver Stone famously saying, if you wanted Hallmark Hall of Fame, you should have gone to them. They have embarrassed themselves and the Martin Luther King estate nonstop for 50 years. So I'm not surprised that they're doing something with this.
I have a theory too. I bet it's because he was known for being a womanizer and whatever else.
Oh, yeah.
And obviously the FBI probably recorded a lot of this, and they probably are saying they probably just want to cover up his extracurricular affairs.
I will explain in detail what that is. In fact, there are tapes of Martin Luther King having sex with various women at the Willard Hotel, and the wiretaps were sealed by a judge for no reason, no legal reason. They were sealed without a date. The wiretaps were signed by RFK Jr.'s father, Robert Kennedy, the Attorney General of the United States. And on those tapes, which were played to LBJ by J. Edgar Hoover and others salaciously in the LBJ administration, are what they're afraid about coming out, in my humble opinion.
Yeah, I'm sure that's the main thing that they want to not have revealed, which it makes some sense. Packer Jack said, those are Ruth Payne's Tic Tac drones that redact documents from the air.
You know, as Max Holland said the other day, who was Max Holland? Oh, Max Good, who directed the Ruth Payne documentary, which is true. Their and Oswald's IRS taxes are still sealed in the IRS. This is, again, another agency, Eric, not having anything to do with DNI nor the National Archives. The taxes of the Paynes have been sealed, and Oswald's taxes. I mean, that agency would have to release them into this hopper. You know, so I mean, Trump doesn't know this, but I mean, Jim DiEugenio knows that, and Rex Bradford knows that, and Dick Russell know that. So somebody has got to be hip to that thing, and that's just one of many things. I'm just saying that because of this statement here. The taxes of Ruth Payne, if you get in there, I am assuming you would see money coming directly into her thing from the Central Intelligence Agency, and she promptly declared it on her taxes. I mean, her sister worked full time for the CIA, and she declared it on her taxes. So there's a reason those are sealed. There's a reason those are sealed, and the reason they have to be unsealed. Now, that being said,
well, she wouldn't even have to declare it. The CIA themselves would be turning it in. It's just a government payroll situation. They would turn it in, you know, same way you have to go, you know, you get your check stub and all that. Well, you know, the IRS has that record. It's government.
Right, no, but I'm just saying, even if they destroyed their side of it, there's a reason that her taxes have been sealed.
Yep.
There's a reason. And I believe it's obvious that she's being paid and declared it on her taxes that she was paid by Central Intelligence as an, you know, either a contract employee or a regular employee.
And Oswald's is probably paid by the ONI or you know, whatever on his.
Yeah. They were hiding that. I mean, it's not, you don't have to be a fucking Nostradamus or Einstein to figure that out. But what I'm saying is somebody's got to go into those organizations and get those documents. You could say, well, we destroyed them. You go, all right, well, that's weird. But I mean, those have been sealed and have been attempted to been unsealed through Freedom of Information Act for 50 years to no avail. Wow. So we know they're there because they keep denying the FOIA requests.
Oh, okay. You know what? Somebody found the Adam Schiff comment for us. Let me.
Oh, thank God. Yeah.
because you had asked about that.
So what happened to his face? I mean, did he have some work done or something? Trump was alleging hit by a baseball bat.
I'm not sure. I think I saw something earlier, but somebody put like a sticker on his forehead or something. But let me see.
I was told the Schiff was going to travel with us to California. I wasn't thrilled, to be honest with you. And I saw him last night on television. It looks like he got hit with a baseball bat or something. What happened to him? Something happened to him. It looked like he got hit. It looked like he got beat around.
What is he talking about?
I'll ask Caroline to find out what happened to him.
All right, we got to
If he
find
wanted
out
to
what
come
happened.
out, I would have done that. But
All right, guys, help us find the Schiff.
Yeah, the Schiff baseball bat results because something happened to Schiff. Now, that being said, imagine him on Air Force One. I mean, is it kidding with that? That this guy would be on Air Force One with him? Is that humanly possible?
I mean, well, Trump did say it would save money. So we don't know if Air Force One's the only plane that's traveling. There might be enough. I think like 5 or 6 congressmen are coming with them.
Oh, he could go with
whatever,
them.
so.
Yeah. But I mean, to get to fly on Air Force One, he'd have to invite you.
Right. Well,
yeah,
or
I mean, you can't just say,
staff,
I'm here, I'm queer, let's get used to it.
But there might be 2 planes. What I mean is that he's Air Force One. There
Wrestling.
might have been another plane that went at the same time, and that would save money because of more people on there. Technically, it's a more efficient travel. Whatever. But I thought that was funny. He said, "Yeah, it'll save money." Like, okay, that's Trump for you. What is it? We had this story here. What is this? Oh, yeah. Guatemala has received Trump's first jumbo jet load.
Yeah, this is a beautiful
illegals.
story. This is from today. The jumbo jet load of Guatemalan immigrants going back to Guatemala.
Look at that.
Wow. I think they had like somewhere in there, they had a C-130 transport plane with the back open, and they were marching them onto the plane.
That's a loud ass flight, I can tell you.
Yeah.
Noted.
Well, it's a short flight, so
it's not that short.
Well, if they're coming from the East Coast to Guatemala, how far is that flight?
Pretty far.
To Guatemala from, well, I don't know where it left, so you're right. I don't know.
Right. Yeah.
I mean, it could have gone from San Antonio, Texas, for all I know.
I mean, it's probably the equivalent of my flying to Miami or farther from just thinking of it. Diffuse 56. The drones are the size of SUVs, have no heat signature, no wings, no apparent propulsion. Mark had a UFO sighting, so I'm sure he gets it.
I do get it. And look, I'm not ashamed to say it, and neither is Rich Barris. I mean, it is what it is. I mean, I can't just, be embarrassed and not discuss what happened with me. Look, I'm not in favor of anal probes, but sometimes you got to roll with it. Hundley turns around. Okay. No, but she's right. She is right. She is right.
Jesus Christ. Alex Davy Duke from Canada. The UFO stuff with these drones are probably a U.S. military operation to assess how Americans will react to strange events.
Could be.
Will people panic, laugh, ignore, etc.? Look forward to Trump revealing who does this. I hope that's it. Okay.
Yeah, that's your hope. I mean, that's what you're hoping, Alex. I mean, but we don't know till we know.
Right. Well, and that's why I'm not poo-pooing. I'm just literally saying, if it is in fact extraterrestrials,
we're fucked. I mean, General Kelly.
Hope they're feeling nice to us.
General Kelly at Langley didn't say that. I mean, he saw wave after wave of them coming in there, night after night, which was the Wall Street Journal front page article in October of this past year. There's more meat on this bone than people know what to do with.
All right. Elwood Bryant said it would probably be very cost effective to do away with the paper dollar and stay with the coin. That would be a little bit of a pain to carry around.
Oh, it's all about your pain.
Absolutely, it is.
Yeah.
It's always about me. What are you talking about? Are you late? How long have we been doing this show? My God. Packer Jack. So will they have to change the name of James Bond's secretary to Money Nickel?
Miss Money Nickel. Come here, Miss Money Nickel.
I prefer Money Dime.
Money Dime.
Money pound. No. Rebecca Stewart with a super sticker. Thank you. Fletcher Boy, sponsored by the Teddy Kennedy Driving School, Chappaquiddick, Massachusetts. Our drivers can swim, passengers not so much.
Mm-hmm. Wow, Fletcher Boy. That's a good episode. A lot of people watch that episode for some reason.
It's our
I'm not sure.
top episode last year.
It was?
Yeah, that was the top one.
Wow, that's odd.
113,000 or so. I don't remember. Jenny's getting inky with it. The teacher regarding ICE deporting kids in her class. Oh, that's what she was talking about. She never read Dante's.
Oh, about the teacher. Yeah. That's those teachers are so strange. They have to get rid of them as teachers.
Well, they JetBlue ICE onto her.
Yeah. If you could combine the stories, that would be helpful.
Outright mental defective with $2. Thank you. Elwood Bryant. Too bad we cannot ask Carlos Marcello
you know what?
about
That's
the
pretty
flight
funny,
to
bro.
Guatemala's length.
That's pretty funny. Or how RFK, the deporter in chief, got him there. And that was that distance would be New Orleans to Guatemala, not Guatemala City, somewhere outside of Guatemala City, if I recall, in the mountains. How he landed, I've never really understood that, but he was wearing alligator shoes and a silk suit, Carlos Marcello, and he had to work his way down to some village before he got his way back into. It took a while to get back to New Orleans from the deportation by RFK Sr. To Guatemala.
RTX with $5 Rumble rant said, Mark, tell your UFO story, please. Not here. We have an entire episode where Mark goes.
Yeah, there's a whole episode about it, bro.
There's a playlist, Mark's memories on YouTube. This is a Rumble rant, but I can't remember which one that was. Is that the
Sonora House?
Sonora House. Okay.
Yeah, because it's when we were living upstate. Yeah, that it happened. Yeah, no, you can watch the episode. I go into incredible detail about the.
He does. It's a full blown story. It's a fun story all around.
Close encounter.
All right. Optimistic about RFK being confirmed?
Yeah, I think so, but I think it's going to be a war. I think Gabbard is done. This is my opinion. I think Gabbard may not make it. She may be the sacrificial lamb along with what's his face, Gates. Who, by the way, is on TV already. I don't know if you saw the Gates show.
Yeah, he's been on for a couple of weeks.
It's a pretty entertaining show on OAN, but Gabbard is not fighting for herself. She's not doing interviews. She's not out there. And that is one of the bad signs.
It is a bad sign. When is her
coming up now?
Well, I'm just wondering what the date is
next
because
week.
Okay, she should be knocking on doors now.
She's not. She's not.
Do you think? Well, Hegseth is today. By the way, let us know if Hegseth gets through while we're doing.
I look. That's going to be tight.
It is tight. Yeah.
And look how much work he did.
Oh no, he's
right.
It's fascinating. His people did an incredible job of potentially pulling, victory out of defeat. We don't know yet. I mean,
we don't know yet, but I mean, if you're not willing to fight for yourself, Trump's not going to fight for you. I'll just put it that way.
And Hegseth did fight. And
absolutely.
Oh yeah, it was
absolutely. He deserves it.
Big Bill 767's answering your question earlier. You used to be able to see the ground on a train toilet. No use during stops.
Right.
Airline plane have been self-contained since at least the 40s. Slow-moving AF planes have barf bags that work well for number one.
Oh, okay. Well, it's good to know. So I don't know what I saw. Maybe I was on a train.
Maybe, yeah.
No, I remember seeing those lights down below. I can't get rid of that image. I remember the thing slid open and I saw lights. Maybe I was mistaken, but I swear I remember.
Well, maybe was it a prop plane?
No, it was a regular jet. We were flying from New York to Puerto Rico.
All right. Carl Webster said, did the USA transition to polymer notes better than paper?
What's a polymer note? A plastic note?
I guess.
Like instead of a paper dollar, it's a plastic dollar?
Maybe, I guess.
Made out of like a bendable plastic?
I guess I'm not sure.
I don't know the answer to that. Polymer note. Polymer. Anybody who has the answer, please comment down below in the comment section. Immediately stop what you're doing. Get up and comment about polymer notes. Over.
All right. All right, saying live chat over Mark's face is distracting. Plus, he is.
I don't think it's on my face.
I don't know when
it's
that's
below
happened.
us. Yeah, that's never. It's too far.
What are you
down.
talking about?
It's not over my
Scott,
face.
Scott,
It's
put your
actually
drink down.
over the lettering on my shirt, if anything, and Humley's logo.
Yeah. Scott, put your drink down. Hang on.
Yeah.
What's going on? Thurston Howell III. How much of the truth of JFK's killing was Milhouse aware of? Come on, Bobby.
Well, we knew that he was aware of Jack Ruby. That part of it's been pretty well documented that Jack Ruby worked for him. So he knew that man described in that episode. Regarding the other stuff, I mean, there's always that rumor and the urban myth that and that comes from Ehrlichman, by the way, the Bay of Pigs being the code word for the Kennedy assassination. It's only from John Ehrlichman that we have that. Nobody else has said that except John Ehrlichman. I'm not saying it's true or not true, but it only is from one source.
Right, and I do know that you make it a habit of trying to have multiple sources.
Yeah, this is only Ehrlichman who came up with this thing, and he was trying to sell some books as well.
Everybody's trying to sell books,
yeah,
including Kamala, I think, right now.
You think she has a book deal in the works?
Yeah, that they were discussing that on Two-Way like a week ago or so.
Okay.
Speculating, like, oh no, what her speech price would be, and they're saying, yeah, no
That's
more
funny.
than 80,000. She's gonna be down low, and Mark's like, really? And they're like, oh, yeah, what's she offering?
Yeah,
there's no party in power. She's just, I mean.
I could see her going to black universities, maybe her own alma mater, giving a speech, something like that, Grambling or the one she went to.
Yeah, but there's no real marketability in that. I agree. It's like she's gonna be on the.
She could go to a WSU, Word Salad University, and give a speech there. Go Word Salad University.
Yep, on a discount rate. Scott Benbow, not gay.
So you say, but who knows? Only you know that, and what stays there is there.
Yeah, Scott, you're supposed to be going around subbing to the channel on the TVs. Have you been letting us down here? What's going on?
Yeah, what's going on there? How much of an episode? Georgia Guidestones? What's that?
Oh, they want an episode.
Oh, the gemstone. Maybe the gemstones.
I don't know.
I don't know what he's talking about. The fabulous gemstones, or what are the Georgia Guidestones?
And Scott wants to say, "Can I stop it on ScrewTube?"
That's funny. Yeah, maybe.
Weird. All right. Well, on that, we have gotten through all of our super chats. I think it's time that we head over to locals ourselves.
What's over there? Maybe some other questions.
All the cool people.
Yeah.
The cool kids are all at locals.
Oh, yeah.
Somebody wrote in Rumble, Georgia Guidestones were brought down mysteriously.
Georgia Guidestones were.
I'm just not familiar with them, guys.
Georgia Guidestones were brought down mysteriously. Okay. Maybe somebody in the chat can explain that in the chat.
Or the comments, because we'll be heading over to locals. So locals people, you can tell us the Guidestones, or all of you can follow us over there. Again, you can be a member there for free. And, well, we meant to bring it up earlier, but a lot of people complain about ads in the YouTube episode.
Oh, we should have brought it up at the beginning. We got to remember.
We'll remember sometime. But on locals, if you watch a show, there's no ads. And you can watch it on the replay crew or however you want. No ads to worry about, because even Rumble has ads. Not a lot, but
yeah,
they do
not as much.
Pre-roll.
What about the meetup? When are we going to tell them about that?
Well, we'll tell them right now.
I forgot.
April
Okay, go ahead.
11th We plan to have a live show and meetup. So it'll be Freeform Friday on Robert Barnes' birthday with
General Barnes
in Las Vegas. And
Las Vegas, Nevada.
we are working on putting it together, and we should have tickets up for sale soon. But at least right now, you can kind of plan ahead to, hey, leave that block open, because we'll be putting out tickets very soon for people to check it out. Come see us in person.
I think even
cool
Viva's coming. I think even Viva said he's going to come. So we may have the full band back together, and one doing a live show, and also the dinner and the birthday and the awards thing for Barnes.
Absolutely.
I mean, at least come to support Barnes, who's had a rough year.
Yeah, he has. He lost his sister in addition to his own health issues. So rough year, but yeah, everybody leave that open. Get ready. We will be selling tickets soon. I booked my flight already to head out there, and hope to see you. But we will see you now on Locals, because
commercial-free Locals, you should point out. We should just call it commercial-free Locals, so we remember. Commercial-free Locals. I mean, that's a good selling point for me, because a lot of people, it drives them crazy, Eric, to see all those commercials.
I understand.
Especially at this type of show where we're telling stories and it's interrupt and freezes up right away, and then commercial goes in. I would lose my mind. I don't know.
Yeah. And a lot of that is YouTube. It's difficult to know when they're going to insert them, when they're not, what they're going to do. And I've learned that if I want it to stay demonetized, it's best that I don't
stay monetized.
Stay monetized, because it's like you touch anything, it's like boom.
It's a sleeping dragon. You don't want to wake a sleeping dragon.
No, not at all. So we're headed over there. Hope to see you momentarily.
Okay.